So, if I can just explain, we've got a couple of new people who've never been to a stretching class before. The stretching class is very loose. Like, we do different kinds of stretches all the time. If someone doesn't have an injury, it's good if they tell me so we can work on a particular area in the stretching class. But again, the problem with the stretching is you can get very disheartened sometimes where you are with your stretching. So at the end of every month, like the last Tuesday of the month, we always do a special different kind of stretching class. I'll just let you know, it's pancake day next Tuesday, so we're all doing a pancake stretch next Tuesday. Probably next Tuesday, a bit of fun. It's usually in February, for some reason this year it's in March. But what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at binds, yeah? And binds is something that a couple of years ago I didn't even know what they were. And they're a real test to see if we're getting flexible in our lower and upper body. Some people are flexible in their upper body, some people are flexible in their lower body. But I like the bind because they need both. The belt is there to help you with the warm-up, and then the little strap, there's something from the computer there. Therefore, if you cannot connect your hands like this, okay? So, what we're going to start with, you can put the belt down, don't quite need it yet, we're going to do. So all we're going to do is we're going to bind the hands together and just do a couple of stretches, okay? So fingers interlaced. You're going to, and again, while you're doing these exercises, just to explain to the new people, make sure that you're breathing regularly through your nose, either out through your nose, into your nose, out to your mouth, or into your nose, out to your nose. Okay, the breathing is very important to relax. So what we're going to do from this position is, as we breathe in, we're going to come up onto our toes, and as we breathe out, back down. Okay, so it's going to do 10 minutes of breathing in. So look forward. Focus on a point and back down. Yes. I have a bruise on my cup. Okay, that's fine. Don't do anything that makes it harm to yourself. Two more. Nine. Now we're going to take the interlock behind you. Really doesn't matter how far apart your legs are or if they're slightly bent. But what you're going to do now is as you come forward, you're going to raise up with your arms first. If I show you from the side, raise up with your arms first and then fold forward. Okay? So again, how much you fold forward is up to you. How much you keep your legs straight is up to you. Okay? So breathing in. And as you fall forward, breathe out and back up. Breathing in. You can't go forward any further with your back straight. Breathe out and let your back fall forward. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Two more. Breathe in. And last one. Breathe in. Okay, just roll your arms forward, roll forward, roll your arms back. Okay, now you've all got a belt. This is an elasticated strap, sometimes called a yoga strap, sometimes called a bar. This is slightly better because you can pull on it harder, get a little bit of tension. Okay, so with your belt or with your strap, you're going to take it above your head. What we're going to do is we're going to go in one circle and go the other way. So what you're going to do is you're going to lean one way and then take one arm behind you and bring the other arm back. So they both come behind you. Then you're going to lean the other way, bring the arm over and around. So that is it slowly. This is it quickly. You understand? Okay? So you can go fast or slow. You don't have to keep up with me. Okay? But we're just basically going to lean to the side, make big circles. Okay? So ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then change direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That warms up the shoulders a lot. just to explain to you, with the binds, you're going to be using your shoulders a lot. Now, again, with this exercise, make your arms wide enough so you can take them behind you. Okay, so we're just going to go forward and back now. The narrower your grip is, the more intense it is. So listen to your body. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull tight. 6, 7, 8, 9. Now on the 10th one, find the sweet spot where you feel the most pull in your shoulders, then hold that for 10. And pull apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And start to swivel side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come up. Put the belt down. You don't need the belt on. But again, the idea is that shoulders often very tight. It's the best way for me to warm up. There's lots of other stretches you can do to warm up your shoulders. I'm just going to show you some standing ones now. So the first one is to bring the shoulder across. It's going to be going for a tricep. And one of the things that I've sort of added on to my stretch is turn the palm down and up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're ready to try our first bind. This is probably the classic one that you, even if you can do it, you can't do it, you at least know of it. Okay, it's very common. I remember doing it in primary school. And I remember in primary school, being able to do it on one side but not the other. Let me just show you what your strap is for. So the first stretch we're going to do is this stretch here. Let's say I've got it here and I can't get my fingers together. So what you do now is you pull on the strap so you're still getting a good workout. So for any of these stretches now, if you cannot link the hands together like we did at the start, that's where the strap is for. So Harun, there's another one by here. Harun, some at the front by the laptop. Okay. So here's some little tips for you. If you're close and your fingers are almost touching, okay? So what I do is I put my hand behind my back and then lift it up with my other hand. Does that make sense? So it goes a little bit higher on my hand. Then I take this one and try and interlock them together. Okay, so with hands or the strap, try and hold it. We're going to hold each of these stretches for 10 seconds. While you're holding it, I want you to take deep breaths, look forward and think about your posture. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that is my good side. I've always been able to do it on that side. The other side, before I started doing yoga, I couldn't do it. Okay? So again, my little cheat is to take my hand behind the back and slightly push the elbow so my hand goes higher up the spine of my back. And when I sharpen my hand or not, reach over, oh, look at that, and my fingers just about touch. So I'm going to relax into this one. Okay, so breathing in and out. In and out. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so give your arms a little shake off because we'll do that a lot. So, for example, you may be way off with connecting your fingers together, but how can I put it? If you keep stretching, keep working on the spines, if one day you can finally get your fingers together, it will feel amazing. Trust me, I've had that feeling. Just be like, yes, they touch. Okay, so don't worry about it at all. So that's like the warm up, and the shoulders we've mainly warmed up here. The next 10 minutes, usually the sequence is yoga. So now I'm going to try and show you some classic standing binds. Okay, so last week we did the sun salutation. This week we're going to miss out the sun salutation and go straight to warrior 2. Is that okay? But just to explain, these binds, you could add it to that sun salutation vinyasa practice. Does that make sense? So where you see these poses, like warrior 2, and then they say now bind, You're like, well, how do you get into that? You just add it to your practice. Okay, so take your legs wide, and again, you can take right leg or left leg. I'm just going to go right leg first. Okay, so first of all, I want to get this hand down to the floor. Okay, so I'm just going to bend one knee, straighten the other, and I'm going to tip forward, try and touch the floor with my fingertips or my knuckles or my palm, and use my core to come up. If you've got a block like Adam, please feel free to use a block. Okay, we're going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th one, a couple of places you can put your hand. You either put your arm here, or you can put fingertips to the floor, or knuckles to the floor, palm to the floor, or behind your leg. And then the other hand comes over the top. Okay, now that hand, watch now, goes behind my back, and I'm actually resting my arm on there. This is what's called a half bind. Now, if your shoulder is tipping forward like this, that's no good. So your shoulder has to be back. Now, feel free to stay there. But now for the bind, you're going to take the hand through the leg and try and connect your hands together. Okay? Okay, we're going to hold there for 10 seconds. And release the hands, and then tip up. Okay, straighten your legs, and go the other way. Now for this one, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show it from the other side so you can see what the bind looks like behind. Okay, again, go into your warrior 2. And again, we're going to start to warm up that leg, go into the floor, keep my hand up high, and raising up. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more time, 5. And wherever your hand is, on here or on the floor, try and tip the arm over the top. So for example, my advice is if you're not quite there with your bind, this hand now, as it goes behind your back, put the strap here, so it's hanging down. Does that make sense? So now, when you reach through, you can grab onto the strap. If you don't need the strap, you can grab on fingers, or if you're very open, you can grab onto the wrist and hold for 10. Okay, come up. Okay, try not to fall. My advice is try not to fall in the stretch because that's when you're most vulnerable. That's when things can break and pop and snap. So always back off slightly. What we're going to do there is we're going to go through that bind again, but I'm going to add a little bit of stretching in between to show you how you stretch a bit, go for the bind. Stretch a bit, go for the bind. Just binding on its own, you won't get anywhere with that. So this is just to explain to you this is where the test is. Okay, so from here, warrior 2. Extended side angle. Back to warrior 2. Just because we did it last week, and maybe someone here. Bend this knee, rainbow warrior. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Straighten the leg. Go forward. The triangle pose. And this move's a bit tricky, so new people just watch a second. My hands on my hip, my front knee bends, my back leg comes in, I come onto one leg, half moon pose. Now, tip back into warrior 2. I'm going to try that bind again. So again, take the arm behind, onto the floor, bring the legs together. Now, don't ask me for the name of this one, because I've been very busy all day and I'm like, I haven't looked at my binds. So, you can stay here, or for an extra challenge, you can try and straighten your leg for a triangle bind. Bend the knee again. And tip. Okay, brilliant. Now we'll go over to the other side, okay? So I'm going to go through that sequence again. So, warrior 2. Extended side angle. Deep breaths in each pose. Warrior 2. Rainbow warrior. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Straighten the leg. Hands out. Triangle pose. One of the things that can happen in the half moon pose is resting your hand on a block or a pad. So hand on your hip, bend the knee, walk the back leg in, go on one leg. Tip back, warrior 2. It's okay, everyone does that the first lesson, first one. Okay, and then put the hand behind the back, tip forward. Well, this is still a good bind. Remember, you've got your strap if you need it, okay? And then grab onto your hand. Feel free to stay there. You're still getting a good shoulder workout. But if you want a challenge now, start to straighten your leg. Okay, bend the knee and come up. Okay. Now we're going to do another bind that's there in yoga pose. If I can just explain my blocks. If you have trouble sitting in yoga squat, you can always sit on something like this. Okay, sitting down like this is tougher than you think. So again, feel free to grab pads and shields, whatever else you need. Okay. Again, we do sell the yoga blocks if you need them. Okay, so what we're going to do from here, feet as close together as you think you can squat. So again, further out, easier, closer together, harder. If your back heels come off the floor, that's okay. But essentially, you want your heels as close to the floor as possible. So I'm going to sit down in my squat. Okay. And your knees, like mine, will go out. Now try and put your hands to the floor. Now watch me first. I'm going to come up onto my toes and I'm going to try and connect, interlock my hands by going behind my feet. Okay, so that's a very good stretch. Okay, now if you can get your head to the floor, this is an excellent setup for crow pose. Adam, you were talking about this the other day. Yeah, crow pose.
No.
You weren't talking about the balance on your hands?
Oh, that's right, yeah, sorry.
So the balance on your hands, this one, that stretch we're doing there is key for crow pose. Okay, very good, Nick, that's awesome. Okay, stand up. We're going to do one more standing yoga pose. This one is very difficult. It's so difficult that I have to change my trousers, literally. Because where I wear my thick Dobot trousers, I was talking to my black belt Richard about it, he's going, the thick trousers are great, aren't they? I went, yes, they are. For everything apart from yoga. That's why they always have very light clothing, because I cannot cross my legs when I'm wearing the thick trousers. So I literally have to change my trousers in order to demonstrate. So I'm like, why can't I do it at home every time? And it took me ages to work out. It's because I'm wearing these thick trousers. So I'll talk you through the pose. Okay? So don't need the strap for this one because you're not going to use your hands to bind now, although there is a hand bind in there. It's all about crossing your legs over. Okay? So use blocks as well, just to demonstrate to you. If you have trouble balancing with the Warrior 3, my advice is to have some blocks here. So I'll just use these to demonstrate. Okay, so standing here, take one leg back into what's called crescent lunge. So take one leg back. Now we'll practice this first. Tipping forward, so you're like a runway, and then tipping up. We'll just do 5 of those to warm up. So 1, tipping forward, straight line from the head to the toe, and up. 2. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one, we're going to stay down, wait, And then if you want to put your hands to the blocks or to the floor, you can. Now, it's quite tricky. I'm going to lift that back leg up, keep my toes pointing in the same direction, heel up. Then let the hips twist. Now, for some of you, you might want to stay there. You can take one arm back, fantastic. You can take the other arm back, which is known as warrior three. Don't worry, we're not going to stay there. We're going to stand up. I'm going to bend the knee. Put your legs down. I'll talk you through it first. So the hand bind. If you can't do the full bind, you're just going to put. So let's have a look. This leg's going to go over. So if you've got left leg back, it'll be left arm under. Okay. There's a number of ways you do it. You either put your hands together like this, or I tend to interlock my fingers. Okay, so that's the hand bind. Okay. What you're doing with your legs. So I have my left leg back. I bend this right knee. I wrap it over. And for most of you, that'll be enough. But if I can just turn to the side here, you can see what this foot is doing. This is the bit that I can't do. And look, watch now, I'll be talking now, I won't be able to do it with even these thin trousers. So I lock my foot over and I hook the foot underneath the leg. And then this hand comes underneath. And this is known as eagle pose. So we're going to do that all now. Stop. I just didn't want you trying to do the pose and look at what I was doing. Okay, so I'll try and talk through it the best I can. So we're going to go back into that crescent lunge. Back into the setup. Lift the leg up, warrior three. Now take the hands back, take a deep breath in. And up. Raise up. Lift the knee. Left leg back, left hand under. Right leg obviously still away. Bend that knee slightly and cross the leg over. Want to do the full bind. You can tip it behind. Okay? And then come up. And then go back, tip back into the warrior three, and come up for crescent lunge. Let's do that all on the other side. So this time, take the right leg back. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to tip forward, breathe in, breathe out, arms up. Breathe in, and out. Last one, go back, put the hands down to the blocks of the floor, and come up onto one leg. Try and get that neutral balance, meaning you would rest something on your sacrum. If you feel okay, take one hand back, the other hand back, deep breath. And tip up. One here. Now this time my right arm and come underneath my left arm. I'll bend my left leg slightly and take my right leg over. This is so hard to talk and do the movements, so I'm quiet because I'm concentrating. Jordan's got it. Okay. And then sit back to warrior three. And then sit back to crescent lunge. And stand. They are poses that take a long time to master, but again, when you get them, feel better. Now, what I'd say for this one is we're going to do some seated binds now. So you might want to sit on a block. Okay, you sit on a pad or a block. That's it. Not a pad. That's fine. Do you want one for your mum as well? Right, there's one for mum. Again, this is not as good. It's soft. But again, you need to sit up enough to be able to keep your back straight. Okay, so next bind. Sat on the floor here. Again, I'm not demonstrating every time with a strap, but please know for all these stretches you can use a strap. I just want to say it's a bit of kit that really helps. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend one leg. Okay, now there's a couple of, like all these binds, they don't just happen. You don't just go like, well, how do you bind it? There's a couple of tests there. Okay, and obviously if you struggle with the first couple of tests, you're going to find the bind more difficult. Okay, so the first one is I'm holding on to the knee here. And I reach with the same hand for my toes. So that's sort of test number one. Can you reach your toes? And again, shut up there. If you can't reach your toes, just grab onto something. The ankle, pinch the toe, something. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my knee with the opposite hand and twist. And as you twist here, as you breathe in, try and grow long in your spine. And as you breathe out, then you twist. One more time, breathing in, long, try to go higher, breathe out, good. Come back to the front. Now this one is obviously harder, second test. I'm now going to reach opposite hand to foot. And try and keep that knee in as tight as you can. Okay, so relax. The half bind, so a little mini one, would be hand behind the back, reaching for the toe. That's like test number 3, I could guess, okay? And then have your handy strap, but because it's behind your back now, it's going to be a little bit difficult, okay? So, again, what's going to happen is this hand reaches forward and wraps around the front of my knee. And then I try and connect my fingers together. And breathe in, don't hold your breath, okay? Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense, good. And then release. Excellent, guys, that's really good. So, change legs, come in. Okay. Just do another round on the one leg. Does that make sense? Okay. Again, what I try and do is, again, when you make these breakthroughs, it is mad which side breaks through. So, for example, if you're right leg dominant, you think that's going to be my right leg every time. But some of my breakthroughs have happened on the left first. Some of my breakthroughs have happened on the right first, and it's because in yoga they're trying to have a sense of balance. Don't favor one side. Okay, so keep it nice and tight. Reach for the toe. Okay. Deep breath. Then cross here. Cross your arm. Put this hand behind your back. And again, breathe in. Lengthen. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. Now, I'm going to reach for the foot with the other hand. If you want to take that half bind with the other hand behind, it's a good halfway zone. Just keep breathing, okay, Andrew? So every time you breathe in, lengthen. Every time you breathe out, relax. Okay, now for the bind, this hand wraps around the front of the knee. Grab onto the hand. Excellent, well done. Just breathe and try to relax. And release. Calm to shake because it's a real workout. Okay. So the next one now is very similar to what we did before with the yoga squat, but it's slightly more difficult. So the one we did earlier was sitting like this and try and clasp your hands behind. Okay. So again, option. You don't feel comfortable sitting in the yoga block. You can sit down here and reach around and get the half bind in. So always take modifications, okay? So we're going to be in the yoga squat. And again, we're just going to open up a little bit here, okay? So little exercise to start to open up your hips, either with hands together or knuckles together. Basically, I push my knees out as my hands go down. So in, push out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now take your hands forward, and one hand comes to the sky. Feel free to put your hand on a block, okay, if it doesn't quite reach the floor. We're going to do 5 circles one direction, 5 circles the other direction, okay? Ready? 1, 3, 4, 5. Change direction. And the other side. Ready? Breathing all the time. Change direction. Now, common theme now. Half bind, just take the hand behind on the knee. Full bind, connect. And change sides, so half bind. Just bring the hand here, bring the other hand behind your back. Full bind, wrap around. And release. Just come down onto your knees for a second. Rest. You want to walk your hands back and link your hip flexors because we've been working on the problem with the binds up. They're all in a row. You're working on a lot of the same muscle groups, so it is taxing. Okay, but this is why I tend to only do this bind class. I only tend to do it 3 times a year with you guys. So again, it's one of the things that you revisit in 4 months, see where you are. Now, again, the last big one we're going to do is one of the hardest ones. It's one of the ones that needs a lot of things. You need the flexibility and the balance and the strength. So again, I'm going to show you lots of modifications so you can help. Okay, so we're going to stand up for this one. So again, legs are as wide as you want them. Wider the legs are, more muscle control you need, but the easier the stretch is. Okay, so you're going to start off easy. You're going to bend one knee and then the other. Now, make it a bit more intense by bringing your hands down to the floor and moving from side to side. Now, the easiest way to do the Cossack squat is by lifting your heel and coming up onto the ball of the foot. But again, always, if you have trouble sitting in that position for whatever reason, sit on a block, okay? And then shifting the weight, we're going to keep the feet where they are and move from side to side. Always start with your hands down. But if you're trying to build the muscle and the balance, take your hands off the floor, but don't fall, okay? We're going to go side to side 8 more times. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just stand up. So with the Cossack squat, feel free to stay with that one if you found that one very difficult. Again, just to tell you a quick story. That's the only Cossack squat I ever did when I was training as a color belt. So I thought I was really good at Cossack squat. And then someone showed the flat version to me when I was a black belt. And I was almost hurt. I was like, oh, there's another version? I didn't know about that. It's cheating, okay? But this one, I think, is the real test when you can keep your foot flat to the floor. So again, it's a lot more taxing on the muscles, but this is the easiest way to lower down safely. Not to start on the floor. So you're going to go from standing, and you're basically going to sit down as low as you can, and then stand up. It's very difficult. So again, you only go down as far as you feel comfortable, okay? This will take a little while, but again, you'll thank me for when we try to bind, okay? So go side to side. 1, and lift. Then the other side. 2, and lift. Try and keep your head up, not leaning forward. 3, 4. If you feel your legs going out wider, take them wider. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the 10th one now. 10. Now the bind. You need to be able to get this hand to the floor and this hand behind your back, which is for most people is almost impossible to begin with. Then you start to wrap it around and connect. Now use the strap. And come up. Other side. So you're sitting down first. And again, make that shape first. That sort of straight line. Put one hand behind the back, and this wraps around the front, and then you connect. And then sit down. Now it's interesting. I don't know when the video's from, but I think it's 2018. I did a bind video then. Did a bind video on my channel. I'll show you what I'm doing. My bind is so much better now than it was in 2018. In 2018, you can probably see me falling and my heels coming off the floor on that one because I wasn't very good at it. But now I can do it a lot easier. Does this make sense? So even myself, I've got photos and videos and pictures of where I am. So never be afraid to do it. Because we've got a little bit of time, I'm going to show you a great lower back bind. If you do have back issues, make sure you listen to your body, okay? So again, we'll set up slow to it, but watch me first because you're going to be looking at the floor, okay? So it's going to work in phases. The first one will be lift your arms off the floor. Then lift your legs off the floor, and then both arms and legs off the floor. And then finally bending your knees, reaching back and binding with your feet and lifting, okay? In between each set, we're going to do a back release for the child's pose because again, this is a lot of tension on the lower back. And if you're not used to doing this, you need to have breaks.
Really attentive my neck.
That's fine. That's fine. Again, Jen, the good thing is now you know enough about stretching to stretch out things that you can stretch. Okay. So head to the floor. Lift the arms up, both arms up for 10 seconds. Okay. And as you lift, really lifting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let it go. And then bend the knees. You need to sit on a block because you have knee issues. Please feel free to do this, but knees are in line with the shoulders. And then walk the hands forward for child's pose. Come forward again. This time, hands are going to be forward, but we're just lifting the legs up. Okay? So lifting the legs up, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. And then again, you're welcome to do that child's pose exactly as you did it. I'm just going to show you some variations. So a variation of child's pose is toes curled and go into your child's pose from there. This one's good if people get cramp in their feet. You need to stretch out the fascia across their feet. And come forward again. If that's the lifting the hands or the legs was intense for you, do one or the other again. Okay? So if it's okay for you, you can lift the hands and the legs up at the same time. Okay? And the head comes slightly off the floor, but don't look up. Keep looking at the floor. And lifting. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax. Now another variation of child's pose. If your toes are curled, keep my hips in line with my knees, and then walk the hands forward to what's called puppy pose. This should be very nice for us now because we've used the shoulders so much. Good to try and stretch them the other way. And again, if you've got your long belt, you can wrap your belt around your feet and pull like that. Yeah. Otherwise, grab on the ankles. And then lifting the head and the knees. So only the middle is touching the floor. And lift there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And down. Last child's pose we're going to do is your toes are touching. You take the knees wide for a wide knees child's pose. So the last 5 minutes of the practice, regardless of what we do, I try and fit in a little bit of recovery stretching, like a warm down. So I'll just take you through this. So your feet slightly wider than your hips. You can take your hands out like a T, or you can put them up like goalpost arms or something called cactus arms. And your job is trying to keep the shoulders into the floor. So you're going to drop the knees over to one side and then the other 10 times. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whichever way your knees are pointing, turn your head the other direction. If you can get your bottom foot over your top knee, that's a little bit of extra stretching there. And I can change to point the knees in the other direction. Turn your head in the other direction, and if you can, wrap that top knee over the other knee. There's a nice little hip stretch there. Now, we're going to bring both knees into the body, and all you're going to do is grab them at the top of your shins where you shouldn't see, make big circles 5 times. And change direction, like twin circles this time. And then feet face the ceiling. You can grab onto your ankles, onto your big toes, on the outside edge of your foot, a happy baby, and just very gently, not a big motion, just tip side to side. And then bring the soles of your feet together, recline butterfly. And release, and slowly roll up to your side. Enjoy it, that was 45 minutes, well done, fantastic. Hello. It's for yes, there's a circus performer training you on Sundays. Well, I have to rent it out. We're not using the gym anymore on Sundays, so we're renting out to the circus. The elephants aren't allowed in. Okay. Next time, Jem, I'll tell you a lie and see if you believe that.